Hello everyone, welcome to another video on our channel, and this time we want to have a look at, we want to do an exploration of working with punches. So usually in Aikido we work with the traditional ski, yokomenuchi, shomenuchi, whatever. This time we want to have a look at a bit closer at the punches, especially at the different ways of skiing, jabs, with cross jabs, this kind of things, and how we can actually work with it without necessarily doing a technique, but just a kind of practice to get used to it. So let's stay together for another few minutes and let's have a look at it.
Okay, so let's take a look at a few different steps to kind of build up with working with punches, working with strikes in Aikido. So one of the first main points is essentially keeping your focus or your attention mostly on your partner and not just waiting for the attack. Now there's a difference there. The distinction that I make is that the attack actually comes from the intention or comes from my partner, and it's not just from the hands or whatever's being used for striking. So you want to, one first practice that you could do is just to be with your partner, and as soon as your partner starts to strike or even starts to think to strike, you want to be able to recognize that. And so before your partner can really set off the strike, you want to be able to just indicate that to your partner. So when I do that, then my partner will just stop if I do it early enough. But there. Okay, so you want to try and get it as early as you can. You want to try and feel it in the system. Now that's a little bit more difficult to do than it is to just talk about it. But you need to be attentive to your partner. Okay? And so I want to be aware of my partner and feel as it comes up there. Okay? And so be able to respond even before the strike happens. Okay? Now in a second step, you want to work, and I would begin slowly with working with sort of spontaneous, different kinds of strikes, but slowly. And I want to be able to move or allow my body to move to an appropriate place. Okay, so whatever my partner does, I want to allow my system to move offline and move in such a way that maybe I'll move back, but in a way where at least I feel like I'm in a good, safe place for myself. Okay, whatever that might be. And I really don't even have to make contact right now. There's no blocking involved or anything like that. I just want to be able to play with being able to move in different ways and get out of the way. Okay? Even if, for whatever reason, my partner does a very different kind of strike. So I want to be able to allow my system to respond immediately to that. And so you can work with that, going from slow to a bit more rapid pace. Now for the next part, we can work with a strike coming in, and we can essentially move out of the way. If you want to move back, you can. You can work moving back, and then essentially you want to, at some point, move into a place where you can connect with your partner, and especially with what we might call the center line of your partner. Okay? So one thing you can do if you need to step back is moving back a few times, and then at some point, moving in. Okay? Moving into the strike, and getting into a place where you can connect closer to your partner. Okay? Then after that, you can work in maybe moving in as close as you can, even in the first strike. Okay? And somehow connecting naturally to your partner's center. Okay? So as I receive, there's an active part. Okay? As I receive, there's an active part. Okay? And the hands kind of reach out, so I can use the hands to kind of touch the strike, touch the strike, touch the strike. Okay? No matter where it comes from. If it's coming in straight, then I can use the hands to try and touch. For the moment, try not to deflect, because my partner can always come back after that. So that's okay. Right? And it may not even work. Right? So he's still coming into the center. So at first, just make contact and move your body. Okay? After that, you can have a little bit more connection, almost drawing out the attack with the contact that you have with your partner. Okay? So as I move in, I can draw out that attack a little bit, almost encourage it to come through. Okay? And again, I'm not trying to block the strike. I'm just encouraging the strike through. Okay? Now, what happens if my partner starts to do multiple strikes? So if he makes the first strike and he's intent on coming back in, I want to be ready for that. Okay? So I need to move in such the same way. So here. Okay? And I might just be careful. So once we work with one hand, we want to be aware of the second hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And then still moving to a place where I feel safe and comfortable, a position that helps me relate to my partner, and also where I can connect to my partner in the center line. Okay? So the next level then would be to work at a closer distance. So we work here. Okay? Now I would suggest here that not as necessarily as a blocking defense, but just as a way to have the hands ready to connect, that the hands are actually present. So as my partner strikes, then I can use that to just make contact. And I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to block or do a technique yet, right? So if I do that, he can come in again. Okay, if I keep blocking it out of the way of the center line. So when I block, I want to still be conscious of my center line here. Okay, that my center line is out of the way of his center for the moment. Okay, so we work close. Right? We almost kind of invite that in. So the hands are ready. Hands are ready. And they're spontaneous, they're natural, they're connective. Okay? Then after that, you can actually work into maybe a certain technique. Maybe you find that you come in and there's a kaita nage. Okay? Or you might be able to find a way to do an ikkyo. Okay, so then that would be another level of working with the strikes, is eventually adding in a technique also in the end. If you have any other ideas or comments about strikes and how to work with them, please leave that below. And we thank you for joining us today.